You're listening to Bigfoot Club podcast, Cryptid Sports Entertainers for Life.
Hey everybody, Robert Jesse Dominguez, Bigfoot Club, Season 6, Episode 15. I'm here with my nephew, Stephen Robert Dominguez. Say what's up.
Let's fucking go.
Dang, Wolverine.
Oh, sorry. Well, I mean, we saw that today.
You couldn't wait?
No, sorry, I was excited. Sorry, man.
So how are things with you?
It's good. It's good. We
went to the movies today?
Went to the movies today. It's my second time watching it. I still enjoyed it.
He's talking about Deadpool and Wolverine. Mm-hmm. So that's my first time watching it. So we can do a review on this later on, I guess next week or something. But today, I'm pretty excited. We're actually interviewing a friend of mine. Like most of the people that I like to pretend are friends, but this is actually a good friend of mine. It's John Lee. John, welcome to Bigfoot Club.
Hey, fellas.
What's going on, man?
I'm trying to contain my excitement for being on Bigfoot Club.
So
this is literally one of the best moments of my life, guys. I mean it.
John, you and I used to work together, right? We're not going to say the company, okay? I don't want to do that. So, but we used to work together for how long did we work together?
Like 2 years, I guess. Probably about half the time I've known you, I think.
Really?
You think?
No, I think it's been like, because I've been clear from sickness for about 3 years now. So it's
okay. So yeah, then 3 probably, because you've been gone for. Has it only been a year?
It's been a year and probably about 4 months since I've been.
Time is weird, man. I can't keep track of it.
Yeah. But I felt that we had a pretty good relationship working together because you were in the technology information and I was in the facility field, and I think we kind of worked hand in hand together, and I thought it was a good way. I mean, we kind of needed each other, and I thought, and then we just blossomed.
I know. I submitted a lot of tickets for your heart, man. Like every chance I got.
Like every time I was supposed to have the tickets before I started working on your stuff, but I would just do it and I would just put in the ticket myself.
Yeah.
And you used to ask me, hey, do you want me to put in a ticket? I go, no, I got it. Don't worry about it.
But you know what? Every chance I got to give you guys a 5-star, all the way.
Yeah. Same here.
We get ratings?
Yeah.
Really? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
would it affect your job if it was like
yes,
really?
Yes, it did.
I guess somebody messed up to where they had to do reviews or ratings on. Wow,
yeah, it's like every chance. It's like, hey, it's kind of hot. Can we fix the air? 5 stars.
It's like, wait, hold on, let me fix it. I don't know if that's 5-star worthy. Hold on.
Yeah. What do you sound like? Like
who?
Like Napoleon Dynamite.
I just thought the same thing. Oh, what's the llama? Yeah.
Eat
your
freaking
tater tots.
Oh. Yeah, that's a good movie. That's a feel-good movie.
John, I think before we get started on your subject, there was a message sent to me by one of our original listeners, Robert R. Cuddy, and he's one of our original listeners whenever we first started. He says, hey guys, it's been a minute or a year, but I've been catching up on the current season. Y'all sound great. So glad Robert's healthy and in a great place with a new current job. I'm on S6, season 6, episode 11, just a little behind. Y'all got me hooked on this Bigfoot Crossroads show and turned into Mr. Knapp and got me hooked on. I'm not gonna say this other show because I don't subscribe to them. And with being a transporter trainer at GFS, I don't have a lot of time for a podcast like I did when I drove by myself, but I started a new job and gives me a lot more time by myself, the chance to listen to the podcast again Bigfoot Club for life. That's what he wrote. So
Nice.
I wanted to say that because Robert was one of our first listeners that actually wrote into the show. He started, like, he would send us pictures and stuff, and so it was that was real nice of him. And I follow him on Facebook. He's a really, really good guy, really good father. So just wanted to say that.
Well, that guy knows what's going on. I'll tell you what, I think you guys are fantastic. I'm gonna be a little bit of a fanboy for a second because I love y'all's show, and like my wife Betty, her favorite pajama shirt is a Bigfoot Club T-shirt. Matter of fact, I need to figure out how to. You need to send me the link to the store or something so I can buy her another one because like she's just about worn the thing out.
There's a new one we have out. It's like a lager type of shirt. Like pretending like Bigfoot Club is like a beer, but it's not. But,
Could be.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah,
Could be.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
Oh. And I guess I do want to let's get something straight real quick. And guys, this isn't personal; it's just business. But I don't think today we need to talk about Bigfoot junk and his like glow sticks and stuff. We can leave that for another episode. Okay.
Okay.
Not his nunchuck.
No. That's fine.
None of that.
No.
Really?
No. I think we're good. I think we're good. We've talked about it enough on other people's shows and our shows.
But some of our listeners love when that happens.
They do.
When we transition into that.
Wow. Can't believe he used that word. Anyway, you're gonna get us canceled, man.
No. You can edit it out if you want to.
I am not editing that out.
Oh.
So, John, number one, thank you for all the great compliments. I am super stoked to have you on. I normally don't have like a close friend of mine to come on the show. We've had Juan Valdez, which is a childhood friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but I normally don't ask old coworkers to come on, and I'm really excited. What I'm really excited about is the subject matter that we're going to talk about today, and it's dreams, and so it's something that's really close to my heart. And there's we can talk about it down whenever we start getting into it. But I did a little AI deal. And I can play.
Yeah.
I can play it real quick, and then after that,
Jamie played the Cranberries' Dreams.
So I'm going to play this real quick.
Dreams are fascinating mental phenomena that occur during sleep, characterized by vivid imagery and narratives. They can serve various functions and have been the subject of extensive research and speculation. Nature and functions of dreams. Dreams typically happen during the rapid eye movement, REM stage of sleep, which is associated with heightened brain activity similar to that of waking hours. This state of consciousness allows for the processing and consolidation of memories, which is crucial for learning and emotional regulation. Theories on why we dream. Several theories have been proposed regarding the purpose of dreams. Memory consolidation. Dreams may help in organizing and integrating experiences from the day, aiding in long-term memory formation. Emotional processing. They can serve as a mechanism for processing emotions and stress, allowing individuals to confront fears or unresolved conflicts in a safe environment. Cognitive simulation. Dreams might simulate real-life scenarios, helping individuals prepare for potential challenges or threats. Unconscious desires. Some theories suggest that dreams reflect unconscious desires and motivations, acting as a form of psychological balance. Common types of dreams. Dreams can vary widely in content, but some common themes include nightmares. Often linked to stress or anxiety, these dreams can involve scenarios of being chased or experiencing danger. Lucid dreams. In these dreams, individuals become aware they are dreaming and may gain some control over the dream narrative. Recurring dreams. These often reflect ongoing issues or concerns in a person's life, manifesting in similar scenarios over time. Cultural influences on dreaming. Interestingly, cultural factors can influence the content and themes of dreams. Research indicates that individuals from different cultural backgrounds may experience similar types of dreams, suggesting that societal norms and values play a role in shaping dream experiences. Interpretation of dreams. While many people seek to understand the meanings behind their dreams, interpretations can be highly subjective. The significance of a dream often depends on the individual's personal experiences and emotions. For example, a dream about losing a job may resonate differently with someone who is currently unemployed compared to someone who is secure in their career. In summary, dreams are a complex interplay of cognitive processes, emotional regulation, and cultural influences, making them a rich area for exploration in both psychology and neuroscience.
Wow, that's pretty deep.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's pretty deep, completely on... that was a little thing I got off AI.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, I'm loving this AI thing you guys are playing with.
Thanks.
Until it takes over the world, and then it's all your fault.
I know, it's Skynet and all that stuff. So.
Skynet.
So, I know whenever we first talked about this, we talked off air, and you said you wanted to talk about dreams and stuff. So, give us a little idea on what you wanted to talk about.
Yeah. So one of the things that I guess our listeners can know about me is I am a Catholic Christian, and I'm very purposefully a Catholic Christian. And one of the reasons I love y'all's show so much is because you're always investigating the supernatural, Bigfoot, UFOs, all that kind of stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And it is necessary for Catholic theology to accept the truth of the existence of a spiritual realm. Like angels, demons, God himself, right, is a spiritual being. He's not like a human like you and I are, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So all this stuff is super fascinating to me because it all plays some kind of role in our faith. And if I could do a quick plug, if people really dig this stuff and they, a lot of people kind of love specifically like angels and demons and all that kind of stuff. If I could point people to a podcast, Jimmy Akin's Mysterious World. Jimmy Akin, he is, all his episodes are about things like that. And he does a really good job of making very fair assessments on stuff. Mm-hmm. And then kind of approaching it from a secular point of view and then a spiritual point of view and seeing how they can marry those 2 points of views together. Super great, great podcast to listen to. But anyway, so kind of back to the kind of the faith part. The church actually, there are some spiritual or supernatural things that the church has a very firm stance on the reality of them and very purposefully investigates these kinds of things. So one of them would be like miraculous healings. Somebody was sick. There's no way they're going to, get better. And the next day they're immediately better. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. There's also non-healing miracle type things like Eucharistic miracles where the consecrated bread starts to bleed or something like that. And the church has methodologies for investigating all these things to look for the truth of them. And then the another one that comes to mind are like demonic possessions, things like that. So the church affirms that these things are all real. And, we have to be respectful of what all is going on in the world and the reality. And that I think you guys were even talking the other day, whenever I was listening to one of your episodes, about a lot of people saying how they want to, I wish I could see a ghost and things like that. And you're like, no. Like, once you open those doors, you can't always close them, right? So the church is very aware of the reality of these things, and so it has teachings on them. Okay, so dreams, though. Dreams. I think the reason I wanted to talk about dreams, one, I have some personal stories about dreams that I'm going to share. But I just think they're so cool. Like, have you all ever had, like, flying dreams or anything like that?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
They're so cool. It's so cool. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so there's basically there's 4 types of dreams I want to talk about today. One of them is lucid dreams, and our AI guy was saying the same kind of thing. These are super vivid dreams. You're aware that you're dreaming. You can influence parts of the dream, things like that. And for me, interestingly, I am almost always aware that I'm dreaming. Have you guys ever had lucid dreams?
Yes, I was talking to Steven off show before when we had the idea of doing this show with you. I was telling, and I'll make this real short, but when I was a kid, I would always have this recurring lucid dream that I was being chased by dinosaurs. And I would have it all the time. Like, I would have it like once a week or twice a week. And after a while, I think I started realizing this is a dream. And so what I would do in my dream is that when I was being chased by these dinosaurs, I would stop, lay down, and go to sleep. And that would wake me up. And I would be woken before I got hit by any of these dinosaurs, their mouths or their teeth or whatever. Yeah. And so I was explaining to Steven, I said, yeah, I used to have this dream all the time. And it was just like, it was weird. Mm-hmm. And I would just know, okay, this is a dream. I'm going to go to sleep and I'm going to wake up. So I've always had that.
And then that's whenever I told you that I heard somewhere where if you're having a dream and whoever you're interacting with in the dream, if you know you're dreaming, it's never safe to say what time it is.
Right.
Because it turns into a nightmare really quick. Like your own, I guess your own people that's in your dream start attacking you.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never heard that. I'm going to have to try it.
No. John, no, please don't do that. I heard it on TikTok. And it made me wonder, oh, man,
that's credible.
Yeah, that's credible, right? But it made me wonder, like, if that is, like, a thing. Like, if you're able to know, like, because I don't think anyone's ever said, hey, what time is it?
Yeah.
You know, on your...
Why would you ask what time it is?
Exactly. It's always something else, like, hey, I'm going to, build this bridge really quick or something. I don't know. Like, whatever you plan on doing, I'm gonna slap this teacher or whatever,
Hey, we don't do teacher violence here.
Oh, sorry. Well, I'm gonna hug this teacher, whatever.
There you go.
I'm gonna beat up this bully, and I have all the strength in my dream to do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's that, but I don't think anyone's ever said, hey, you know what time is it?
Yeah.
It apparently changes a lot of things.
If you find that TikTok again, send it to me. Send it to me.
Yeah,
I want to see it. So.
I will definitely send it to you.
Okay. Sorry, John. Go ahead.
Yeah.
No. I'm like, if you guys never hear from me again, then you know that it went bad when I asked what time it was in my dream. But I think I'm going to try it because it sounds pretty exciting.
Yeah, no, that's just practice, I guess, or I don't know.
All right. Okay, another type of dream, and I don't think our AI guy talked about this. These are dreams of premonition. Mm-hmm. So this is where you dream of something that's going to happen. Mm. I've not experienced this one that I can remember, but I have some premonition like experiences to share, and one of them is a family member of mine who did have a premonition type dream. Again, have y'all ever had that kind of experience either?
I'm going to say this, and I hope you forgive me, Stephen, but I had a dream that your mom was going to die before she died. Mm-hmm. And that bothered me really, really bad.
How long was it before she passed?
It was like 2 days. Mm-hmm. And that bothered me really, really bad. I never told anybody that. Mm-hmm. And then Grandpa, he died before your mom. Mm-hmm. And I dreamt that he was going to die 2 days before he died.
And it is 2 days exactly, too?
2 days.
See, that's bananas, guys. Like we're gonna come back to that one because that's the premonition stories that I have all revolve around that same kind of topic. Okay. It's crazy. It's crazy. Mm-hmm. How about visitation dreams? And I guess, Robert, because you were just saying this, so these are visitation dreams. These are most common after someone passes away. And the period of time, from what I've heard, it doesn't last very long. It's relatively close to the time of death.
Right.
But where you'll have dreams where that person comes to you in your dreams and they talk to you or they ask you questions or comfort you, things like that. Have y'all ever experienced things like that?
I'm proud to say that I got one from my mom, from Grandpa. When Grandpa was recent. And Jabron.
Jabron was his best friend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So well, I guess we'll come back to those.
I've had dreams about this too, and I'll make this really quick. Whenever your mom passed, and I've told you this story before.
Probably. Yeah.
I would dream that we were in like some kind of mall, like a mall that had a lower level and an upper level. And she was on the upper level, and she was like waving at me, and I saw her, and I said, "Wait right there, stay right there." And there was no stairs near her, and so I had to run down a long hallway to hit some stairs and go up to the spot. And I ran as hard as I could to the spot where she was standing, and I get there and she's gone. And then John, I had so whenever my father had passed. Whenever my father had passed, he passed at Parkland Hospital, and we kind of felt it was Parkland's fault for this.
Yeah.
And Parkland's a state-run hospital, so they got tons and tons of money. And so whenever my father passed, my mom wanted to sue Parkland, and so we got this. We pulled all my dad's medical records, and we were shopping around for a lawyer, and my mom wanted me to head this part up. And so I had a dream like that same night that my dad came to me, and he put his hand on my shoulder. And this is like right after he had passed, maybe like a week after he had passed, or 2 weeks. And he put his hand on my shoulder, and he says, don't do it. Don't pursue it. And that's all he said to me. And so the next day I woke up, I called my mom, and I said, I don't think I'm going to do it. And she goes, why not? And I told her, well, Dad came to me in a dream and told me not to. And she got really mad at me. Then I don't think she talked to me for like 2 weeks. And so I've always carried that with me all the time. Yeah. It's like, man, Dad told me not to do it, so I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
So
that's a good one.
Yeah. Sorry, John. So
No. This is why we're talking about it, because I think a lot of people have these experiences and they either dismiss it or they don't want to talk about it because then they think people are going to think they're weird or something. But I think it's so much more common than people realize, and so I think it's good for us to share these kinds of things.
Yeah, right. I agree. I agree.
Yeah. Okay. Last type, and this one is I find this one to be very, very interesting. And it can be confused with the premonition dreams, right? The dream of something that's going to happen. So these are prophetic dreams. And the thing that's important to understand about prophecy, it's not about fortune telling or knowing the future. The important distinction is that prophecy is about truth and premonition is about the future. So yes, you can know the truth of something, and that thing may happen to happen in the future, right? But they're distinct. They kind of can go hand in hand a lot of times. And we'll see kind of from some of my stories, they seem to go hand in hand. But there's a nuance there to consider. All right.
Yeah.
Wow. So if something happens in the future, and it's truthful, it's supposed to happen?
Yes.
Okay. So like the second coming of Christ, that's supposed to happen, right? That's not premonition. That's going to happen.
Correct.
Okay. That's what I was trying to. A premonition is probably something that's not written or not foretold, or maybe it's seen by someone.
It can get a little bit
dicey there.
We can kind of get in the weeds a little bit, right? Especially if we're thinking theologically or like scriptural Bible scripture. A lot of the prophecy is the truth of what the prophets, the truth speakers, are saying are about Jesus, who comes, hundreds of years later, kind of thing, right? So Remember, Jesus says, "I am the way, the truth, and the light." So it's it's the nuance of that they can go hand in hand, but they don't necessarily have to go hand in hand.
Okay.
So
I got it.
Yeah.
So let's start with some lucid dreams. And Robert, thank you for sharing your dinosaur dream. I'm going to tell you all some dreams. These, I guess you could consider them nightmares, as the AI guy would say. So my lucid dreams that I'm going to share with you are very specific, very specifically what I consider demonic in nature. Mm-hmm. So the first one I'm going to share, I'm in my mother's house. It's the house where we grew up. It's the house where she still lives. And just the architecture of the house, there's like a hallway bathroom, like a guest bathroom. And then there's a second bathroom, but it's like attached to I guess what you call the master bedroom kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So in the dream, I start off, I'm in the hallway bathroom and I'm being held there. So it feels as though, have you ever tried to put on like a zipper hoodie or something, but you can't get your arm in the sleeve because it's all twisted up and it's like, there's just this resistance, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Trying to get into the clothes. So there's just this resistance while I'm trying to move and I can't move right. And that's the thing that brings to my attention that I'm dreaming. Oh, something's up here, right? Because this is not normal that I can't move. I try and leave the bathroom. Something holds me back into the bathroom, just like someone's standing behind me with their hands on my, like wrapped around my chest, kind of holding me back. And I don't remember quite exactly how, but I happen to get out. And I make my way into my mom's bedroom. The house is empty. Make my way into the bathroom, the master bathroom. And when you go in the door, you look to the left, and there's the shower, like the bath shower is all down at the end. And in the shower is this dark figure just like crouched in the bathtub. And if you want a good reference, there's a famous painting called The Nightmare by Henry Fuseli. Very close to what I saw in the dream. It's this little crouched figure. In my dream, the figure is so dark, almost like a shadow man kind of dark. But I can very distinctly see the eyes of the figure, and it's just staring at me. And the eyes, I think they glowed red. Can't really remember, but I could see the eyes, and there's this overwhelming sense of like, this is not a good situation, right? Like something bad is about to happen kind of thing, you know? Mm-hmm. And because I'm aware I'm dreaming and I have that sensation, I look at the figure and I know it sounds a little corny, but this is exactly what I did. I said, "In the name of Jesus Christ, you have no power over me." And the second I say it, like it gives me goosebumps thinking about it. Right. The second I say it, you could see its face, its eyes contort in just like a rage, like, oh, I just poked a bear kind of thing, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I wake up, and I woke up and I was just covered in sweat, and it was one of those things. It's hard to go back to sleep after, you know?
This dream that you have, how old are you? Is it your current
I'm
age?
adult. I'm an adult.
Okay.
Yeah, I was, it was probably when I was still teaching, I think.
Okay. You had a beard. You had a beard then?
Yeah, I had a beard and everything.
Had the beard then? Okay.
Were you always, did you grow up Catholic Christian?
Yes, I did. But like most people, you get to like your 20s and stuff and you go, I get to be in charge now. And you leave, you know, you go do your own thing, and then you realize you're an idiot. And then
you kind of just came back.
God's grace, you come back. Yeah.
So did that happen whenever you were coming back?
Yes. So that's kind of an interesting point. Is this happened after I had started reinvestigating the church and my faith and all that kind of stuff.
I was about to ask that question, because it sounds like to me that once you're building up steam in your faith and you're your strength and your faith and where you're going, this dream pops in. Because I've always talked to people whenever I do paranormal stuff or paranormal investigations. I ask that question about do you have dreams? And if so, and people say, well, what's that got to do? It's lots to do with it, because when you're asleep and you're at a sleep state, especially entities that are malicious or they want to attach themselves. If you invite something in, it's hard to get rid of it, whether it's a bad person or an entity. So I think from you're telling me this dream, it kind of shows that where you were picking up momentum to strengthen your faith. And this thing just, hey, I'm going to pop in on John and maybe, cast some doubt or something. What do you think?
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, the closer you draw to God, the more Satan, fights.
Yeah.
Right? Because when you're far from God, he doesn't have to work hard.
No.
You'll do anything he wants, but the closer you draw near to God, the more likely he is to lose you. And so he starts fighting pretty hard.
And then I wonder if there's any a metaphor or symbolism on why was it in the shower?
For cleanliness.
For
cleanliness.
Yep.
For cleansing your soul or your ideas or your thoughts.
Yep.
So
let me tell you this other one that I have that's kind of demonic, because it's the same thing. There's a lot of there's symbolism here, right? And it's just something worth thinking about, considering. So in this other one, I walk into like a restaurant bar. To be honest, it's kind of like a saloon-y kind of thing where like everything was wood, tables, chairs, it's all wood, the floor is wood. And there's like a seating area where it's like a restaurant, but then there's a bar, and I guess you could order drinks or something like that. Yeah, a lot of restaurants are like that nowadays anyway. But anyway, behind the bar, there's this beautiful woman. And she's just standing behind the bar. She invites me in like a hostess would, And, she's very pleasant. She's very welcoming. And she just asks, hey, what would you like? What can I do for you? And I'm looking around. And I'm like, why is this place empty? And I turn and look back at her. She's just smiling. And I look down on the counter, or the bar countertop, right? And there's this little chunk of raw, like meat, like flesh on the counter. And it's almost like quivering. It's like so moist. And I look up at her, and she's just smiling, like she's just waiting for me to ask for something. And so, that's the thing that gives away, like, oh, I'm dreaming.
Yeah. There's
something going on here. And this was not far from the first dream, kind of timeline wise. And so I pull out my old, this is my play in the playbook, right?
Yeah.
And I say, in the name of Jesus Christ, you have no power over me. And again, her face, it just changes into this look of rage, and she like lurches over the counter like she's coming at me, and I wake up before she can do anything.
So this one sounds like she was waiting for you to invite it in.
Right?
Yep.
So
what can I do for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
was she was she dressed seductive, or was it just like a waitress?
No, that's what I found that interesting. Not overly, just a very nice looking woman. Like she was dressed like kind of like you'd expect a hostess at a restaurant kind of thing, right? Probably like a long skirt or something like that.
Yeah. So what's that's funny, because what your thing of, in the name of Jesus Christ, you do that. That's like your thing of saying, what time is it?
Right.
Maybe.
So I feel like it's your.
It's a better card. I'll say that.
Yes, it is. I would say, that is a better play. You can't go wrong with that, especially if you mean it. And I think those two dreams right there was just something that was very, very malicious, big time.
I mean, I wonder if you just said to her in this dream, if you that you're dreaming, you say, if she says, "Can I help you?" Yes, and then you say, "I don't know, can you?"
You can go back to hell,
and then
where you belong,
and then see what she says after that. Well, you have to say it. Oops, sorry.
Yeah.
You have to
My
invite
bad.
me in.
What I found so interesting is the first time it was very clear. It wasn't even trying. And maybe you could say it was trying to hide, in the shower. But the second time, it was disguised.
Deceiving.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it didn't work the first time. Let's work the second time.
Yeah, let's do something with a lady.
Yeah.
Or that's just.
Well, let me ask this question, John. Okay, this person was she blonde, brunette? Was she tall?
She was tall.
Okay.
And she had long blonde hair.
So
that's really the only thing I can remember distinctively about her, other than she was just.
At this time, was this right in your wheelhouse of what type of woman you'd look at, or?
No, I don't. I think it was probably just some amalgamation of, this is just attractive.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. This is average attractive men should like this, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
not too like it's not so much as like I'm showing my hand what I'm trying to do here, right? It's subtle enough,
ambiguous,
but it's still yeah.
Ambiguous. Yep.
So that's interesting.
That's weird.
It is very weird.
Yeah.
Have you ever had like a dream like that?
Me, I think I might have, but I don't remember them.
So I remember this one. I don't know if I ever told you this one. This one was kind of bad. Well, there's that one with the boys. I think I already said that.
You said it last
episode.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure John heard it. But there was one that I remember, and this one was weird. I don't know if this was because I watched. I think Insidious came out too at the same time. But I had a dream that I was looking in where I was sleeping and I was seeing my body, but I saw something floating over me, and it was very malicious. I could tell. I already felt negative energy from it.
Was it black?
It was a black cloud, a black mist, but I could see like facial features looking at me.
Yeah,
and it was like trying to bite me and stuff. And then I looked at it, I go, hey, get away from my body. And it like faced me real quick and it growled really loud. And I remember waking up growling.
Wow.
And I woke up and I was like, this is the same time Limer was staying with us.
Oh, that was a long time ago.
Yeah. And I looked and Limer was passed out and you were at work and I was looking around. I go, what the freak was that? And I was like, I was sweating too. And I was like, I looked under the bed and I was like, what the hell was that? Like I had a hard time going back to sleep.
Was this back when I was at USBC?
I think so. And I didn't have at that time I didn't have a job yet. So I think this was somewhere around 10 in the morning.
Okay.
And me and Limer, we slept in. So I just thought that was weird. Like, why did I wake up ground? Was it at this, like it was trying to possess? I don't know. I do not know. I did not like it. So that scared the shit out of me. I don't know what that was.
Yeah, I was scared to sit on anybody.
Yeah, waking up growling.
Yeah,
and that's
Limer was not a good influence anyway. So
yeah, he had some demons around him.
Yeah, but anyway, go ahead, John.
I don't know. What do you take on that, John?
I just think it's a good example, I guess, of the reality of this in all of our lives, right? Like you're saying, he has demons around him. We need to be aware that these things are real.
Yep.
We don't want to cry like wolf. We don't want to see the devil behind every door kind of thing. We don't want to.
Yeah, you're the devil.
Overdo it, but we need to be aware that these things are real, and I think we should strongly consider them.
And I wasn't going to church at the time. At the time, I wasn't like really. I don't know. I would say at that time I was probably still angry, really bad at God and stuff. Yeah. So I don't know why that came so strong in a nightmare. But yeah, I don't. Yeah, I just thought that was weird.
Had you thought about God at all at that time, or
no? At that time. Yeah, no, I think I was just really down because I couldn't find a job. I couldn't get into school. I couldn't get into college or community college at the time because remember when I was trying really hard, they were like, hey, you need to get a signature from your parent. And I was like, well, my mom passed away and I don't. That's just, well, you need to get it from your father. I go, I don't know where my father is. I never really got along with him. I go, but my uncle is my pretty much my legal guardian. He goes, well, did he sign, like, did he adopt you? I was like, I don't think so. I just know that it was, part of that. I was explaining to her, and she was just being real difficult with me.
It was part of the will.
Yeah, and I was explaining that to her. She goes, no, he needs to be like an actual parent to sign off on this so you can go to school. And I'm like,
because I went to court to legalize that will. Yeah. So that should have made it.
Well, she was
the legal guardian. But anyway,
she is the reason why I didn't go to college. So, but yeah, no. At that time, I was just down.
Yeah.
And I don't think anything of it. Like, I wasn't trying to go to church or anything, or I was just really down. So I don't know if that was it. Maybe that's made me weak at that moment. Don't know.
Yeah,
it was weird.
Would you say that you were depressed then?
Yeah, I would say yes.
Then that would make sense then.
Yeah, I would say yes on that, because it was a difficult time too, because I was going through a breakup too. So yeah, that was another thing. So yeah. I what's your take on that? Other than saying that these things are real?
I think not only is it real, we do have to. Your AI kind of intro. There's something true about what I was saying, is that part of dreams are how our mind is dealing with stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And so, kind of equally to the demon dreams that I was having, it doesn't mean that I'm actually being tormented by a demon. Mm-hmm. Maybe I was, right? But not necessarily. We just need to be mindful of that possibility, that it could just be the way that we cope and we deal with it and process that information in our lives.
Right.
Yeah, because like subconsciously, if we're not, spiritually strong, then our fear is that could creep up on us. And so it's in the back of our mind, and so when we dream, it probably comes up to the forefront.
That's why I always tell you, I don't think I'm ready to go to any investigations or paranormal, investigations, because I feel like we've lost so much. Yeah. And a part of me still grieves. So I don't know if that's a trigger for anything that's malicious.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, because I know, John, whenever I got better and I started walking again, I got invited to go to so many investigations, so many paranormal investigations, so many Bigfoot investigations. And I was honest with him. I said, look, man, I would be a liability to you if I went, because spiritually, I'm not strong enough. And if I were to go, I would maybe get an attachment or something. And I just don't want that. And I think right now I think I'm pretty strong now. I think I'm pretty strong now, but at that time in 2021, I was not strong at all. I was broken, mentally and spiritually, and man, it's just like, that's like a open door to anything that's malicious, and I just didn't want to do that.
Especially for me, because I was still like recovering of losing you, and you came back, and I was so like. And then I lost Jabron, like literally 2 months later.
Yeah.
And I felt like, geez, like you
can't catch a break.
I can't catch a break. And I felt like I did something bad, because I remember going to the bathroom and I said, God, I will do anything if you can just make sure Roberts stays here. I don't care what happens. And I felt like I did the switch of bait. I know.
You didn't do that.
I know I didn't. I've come to terms and accepted that that's not my fault. But at that time, for a long time, I felt guilty, because I felt like I was like, I had to sacrifice you to stay here. And then God had to, I got to take somebody, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And so that was really hard. And I was like, man, I felt like I had to confess to his mom too that I did that, but it wasn't. At the time,
that's not on you.
It's not on me. I accepted that, but that's why I was like, I am not okay right now to go in any investigation, because I think that will be a big target.
Yeah, I'd say so. Especially you're feeling that way. That's just like a wide open wound inviting infection. You know.
Yep.
So, oh man.
Well, let me because you're talking about loss. So let me tell you about some of the premonition experiences, and then real briefly the visitation kind of dreaming too. So with these premonition dreams experiences, these all took place between different family members of mine, either the day before or the morning of my dad's death. So my dad died my senior year in high school. He had a heart attack. Mm-hmm. And, each one of these kind of little things by themselves, it wouldn't necessarily be strange, but when you put them all together, it definitely seems like it's a stronger case for there may have been some degree of premonition happening among the family members, you know? So the day before, my sister, Julie, older sister, she's a pediatrician doctor out in Oklahoma City. So she had this patient, of course, as a kid, because she's a pediatrician. So she's got this kid is not doing well. It's a good chance of dying from whatever their condition was. And she was aware. She was very aware of how unusually and extremely upset she was by this. Like she was shook up by it when, she deals with this kind of stuff all day, every day. But this really kind of had her shook up. And in this situation, for some reason, she remembers telling somebody, like, she just absolutely refuses to let the kid die. Like, she's going to stop it somehow. And then after she had made that kind of comment to a coworker, she was like, you know what? No, I don't know why. I need to call Dad. And so, like, she called my dad, like, out of the blue. And she was telling him, she said, when she was telling me about this, she goes, I just remember I felt like I was so upset about this kid, and I felt like I had to call Dad, and I had to tell him how much I loved him. Like, I just had to do this, right? So, like, that by itself, not necessarily, that big of a deal, but the other things start playing in and building on top of it. So the same day before my dad died, I remember I was just running around with my brothers and stuff, but at one point in time, my dad had put a song on the stereo in the living room and was, like, slow dancing with my mom. It's a beautiful, beautiful memory in my mind for such a crazy time. But the song that they're slow dancing to is called "There's No Way" by Alabama. And the lyrics say something like, "If I had to survive without you in my life, I know I wouldn't last a day. Oh, babe, there's no way." And so it's like, okay, that's just another little tidbit of something, right? Same day, that night, rather, the night before he dies, I'd gone out with my brother and some friends, and I'd come home. It's like 10 o'clock at night, and for some reason my dad he had already gone to bed. My mom was up watching, like, the 10 o'clock news. And so I'm like, all right, good night, Mom, and I'm going to go to bed. And when I go down the hallway, right, it splits off, and the kids' bedrooms are one way and parents' bedroom the other way. And I had this overwhelming urge to go tell my dad good night. And so, like, I went to the door of the bedroom, and the door was closed, and I just stood there grappling in my mind with, no, he had to have been tired if he went to bed. No, just go in and say goodnight. No, just leave him alone. You'll see him tomorrow. No, I need to say goodnight. And finally I just gave up, and I was like, no, I'll see him tomorrow. And I go to bed. Well, my mom told me right after the news finished, she went and got in bed. And as soon as she gets in bed, my dad rolls over and asks if I was home yet. So, like, I'm on the outside of the door, like, with this urge to connect with him, and he's inside the room wondering if I'm there yet, right, wanting to connect with me. And so those three things, they add up. The morning of my dad's death, my mom has a dream. Okay. In the dream, she was holding on to who she said she thought it felt like it was her mom that she was hugging and, like, holding onto him, or onto her mom. And but she said, you having dreams where it's like, this person it's Robert, but it doesn't look like Robert, but it's Robert, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So it's like she felt like it was supposed to be her mom, but whoever this person was that she was hugging, she was crying while she was hugging that person. She says, I don't want to let go. And the person she's hugging is telling her, you have to let go. It's going to be okay. And when she woke up, she was holding my dad, who was still asleep, and she was, like, hugging him in bed. And so she's, like, really disturbed by it. She gets up. She thought her mother was going to die from the dream. But literally a couple hours later, my dad died. He had his heart attack and died. And so, like, you add all those things together, and it seems to me like, kind of, Robert, what you're saying, you had these premonitions that people are going to die. I think people somehow know when these things are going to happen.
They react differently.
Yeah. It's just weird. I don't know if it's something about our energy that changes.
Yeah.
If it's what, you know?
You know, it's weird because, like, we went to go see Deadpool and Wolverine today, and I went with my childhood friend, Juan, and his dad died, like, in 2020. And his dad at first didn't like me and then started liking me as we got adults and stuff. And he passed away in 2020, like I said, 2020. And he was pretty rough on Juan growing up, and he was pretty he's very just a tough dad, you know. He just
strict.
He was strict on him, and so as adults, he kind of eased up. And the last memory I had of his dad was that I told him, because his family doesn't say the word "I love you" too much. And I'm sorry to say that, but I'm sorry, Juan, I'm saying that, but like the last memory I had of him, I told his dad that I loved him, and he says, "I love you too." And then, like, I think some months later, he died. And I didn't get a chance to say goodbye to him. But the last memory I had of him was that I told him that I loved him, and I rarely say that to him. Yeah. And something told me to say that to him, and I did, you know. And like right before my dad died, I was taking care of him, and I was with him for 3 days, and he told me to go back. He goes, "Go home, go get some rest, and come back this weekend." And it was like a Wednesday or Thursday or something like that. And I told him, I go, "I love you." And he says, "I love you too." And then I went home, and then my other brother took over, and my dad fell and then died. And so the very next day, so the last time I talked to him, I told him that I loved him, and I was pretty happy that at least I got a chance to tell him that. And and whenever Steven's mom died, I was in the room with her. Yeah. And when she was passing, and I told her I loved her. And you rarely have that opportunity to say you love someone that's actually dying. Yeah. And I had the opportunity to do that with his mom. So it's just one of those things that you don't want to do, or you don't expect to do, but somehow you kind of get stuck to it, you know? Yeah. So
I also want to bring up too that I know it's going to be painful to hear, is that she came back a couple times. Yeah. Remember? Yeah. And when she came back, she says, "I see it. It's beautiful." Yeah. Wow. And that, I think that I hated hearing that at the time.
But she was in so much pain.
She was in so much pain, but as an adult now, as a parent now, I'm glad I heard that. Yeah. Because in my mind, I was like, she was in heaven. She came back to let us know that she's okay. I think that's beautiful, because I think either God or some powerful being was letting her know, say, "Hey, it's okay to go back for this second to say this
to them,
to let them know that you're going to be okay, that everything's fine." Yeah. So, and then that's so funny too, you know, because, you know, I think a couple of weeks before she passed, she was really into wanting to watch Roseanne. So we were watching Roseanne, and I was laying in bed with her, and she stopped looking at the show and looked at me. I felt her looking at me, and I looked at her, and I said, "Are you okay?" And she was like, "I just want to let you know that when I'm gone, I'm always going to be watching over you, and you're going to be all right."
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And I brushed it off. I was like, "Mom, stop talking like that. You're going to be fine." At that time, y'all were keeping a lot of stuff from me. Yeah. And I don't know how difficult that was for you, not letting me know on that.
It was really hard. It was really hard.
But y'all knew, but in my mind I was like, "She's gonna be fine. She's fine." So I just kind of brushed her off. I said, "Mom, you're gonna be fine. It's all good. Don't worry about it."
I even told her that. I told her that she was gonna be, because like, she asked me once, she goes, Am I gonna die? She asked me that, and it pained me to not tell her the truth. Yeah. And I told her, this is what I told her. I said, "If you die, I'm going to punch a hole in this world, and I'm going to bring you back." That's what I told her. Yep. And she just smiled, and, you know, she goes, "Thank you." That's what she said to me. And is one of those things that, I don't know why I said that.
Yeah.
But I just said it because I thought that's what she needed to hear.
Yeah.
Before she passed.
But I think she knew.
Yeah.
She knew. So it's one of those, I think whenever it just comes to that moment, John, like how your dad, he gave your mom like a beautiful last memory of dancing with her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he was worried about where John made it home or not.
And, y'all were like literally in sync, and y'all were, he was probably looking at the door like, is John home? like. So I
just
think,
waiting.
Yeah, I think stuff like stories like these are just so beautiful because it's one of those things where it makes you believe in a higher power, good, like a good side of the negative, like the negative side of there's death of it, but there's also those little moments where you kind of like hey, at least I had this and stuff. I got to see Grandpa before he passed away, literally the night before he passed away.
Yeah, I just made it into town.
Yeah, we just made it into town, and I remember we were so tired, but my mom was like, "No, let's go see Dad. Let's go see Grandpa. I want you to go see Grandpa." And I'm so glad she pushed on that because Bethel was like, "No, we'll see you tomorrow." It was like at 9 at night, and we went to go see him, and I finally got to hug him because I didn't see him for almost a year.
Yeah,
and I finally got to hug him, and he said, "So happy to see you. I'm so happy that you're back. And whenever I get better, I get out of here. You're going to spend a night with me." I was like, yes. And that was the last time I talked to him. Said I loved you. Loved him. And, So, I think those.
Not everybody has a chance to do that. Not everybody say goodbye to someone that they love, or have them knowing that they have thoughts about you before they pass. Mm-hmm. Not knowing is probably the worst thing.
Yeah.
But I think all of us here, we had the opportunity to have a good memory, and to know that our loved one that left was thinking about us.
Yep.
So I think are extremely blessed.
Very.
Yeah.
So at the time as a kid, I was very angry. It took me a while to get to where I'm at now to really appreciate those last moments, because I saw those last moments as haunting memories.
Yeah.
Because nobody wants to see, I didn't want to see my mom pass away.
I didn't either.
But if you really think about it, she passed away in the most beautiful, peaceful way.
Yeah.
The pain was going away, and she saw the other side, and she let us know.
And we were all there.
And we were all there with her. So it took me a while to mature and really accept that and love that. But it's that right there, John. You just it brought up a lot of memories. I'm sorry, but
No, it's good. I think you're absolutely right too. There is so much healing that has to happen for us to be able to see a moment like that and go, like, my God, how beautiful, and then when you're right with God and you're joyfully longing to be with him. Now I think, when it's my turn, is my dad going to be on the other side of the door wondering if I'm home yet?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And same thing for y'all and your family members. Are they going to be there just waiting? Is it going to be time to spend the night finally? All these wonderful things, but it takes so much healing to be able to look at those memories with love and joy and see the beauty in them, because we're all broken and it hurts, right? But there can still be so much beauty in it.
There is. It is. It's at that time when you're grieving. That's all you see. You see anger. That's the worst part about grieving, is you see anger. You see red. You see the what ifs. What if I did this differently? And you're not focusing on the actual last memory of.
I should have spent more time with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's that too. It's I guess we can just segue into the whole visiting dreams then, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So for me, all I was going to say is share what you guys had shared at the beginning. Right after my dad had passed away, I had a couple dreams where I was riding in the car and there's Dad, and he's asking how everyone's doing, and he's asking how Mom's doing, or I had another dream where it's I was at my grandmother's house, his mom's house, and the house was full. It was full of people everywhere, which is kind of an interesting contrast to the scary dreams where I'm completely alone, right? But the house is full. And I'm looking, and I finally find Dad back in the back bedroom, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I found you. Do you have any? I love you so much, like. And he's just like, yeah, I know. And I'm like, no, you don't get it. I love you so much. Do you not understand? He's like, no, I get it. It's okay. I understand. Yeah. No, you don't.
It's almost like he doesn't have the memory that he left, but you do.
Yeah, or he has a fuller understanding of what's waiting, and so he knows how much we really love him. Yeah,
that's your love for him is like a tether.
Yeah,
and it's like it's keeping y'all still together and thoughts of each other, and so whenever you do pass it, I can't wait till you see him.
Yep.
Yeah, it's gonna be and again, it's life, maturity, healing, all those things. You learn how to look forward instead of looking back.
Right.
Yep. Yep. Because that right there, like I was gonna ask too, John, like because you said that you pretty much know you're dreaming, right? And especially in his dreams, and I guess in the dream when you see him in the car and he's asking all that, did you have like a sudden urge to just like hug the crap out of him and just like not let go?
Yeah,
but you couldn't control that part, right?
Well, it's the urge versus giving into the urge. Right. Like I see a pizza and I want to eat the pizza. It doesn't mean I'm going to, you know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, just those strong desires for that connection are absolutely present.
It's present, but you don't feel like there's like nothing. There's not a hold in you on the dream. Like, no, you can't hug them. Like,
no, I think in my cases, I just didn't. Like one of the things that I was doing in one of the dreams is, so my dad was a pilot in the Army, and when I was a little kid, he'd come home from work and he'd sit at the edge of the bed, and I would untie his flight boots, or combat boots, whatever you want to call them, right? And so in one of the dreams, that's how I knew I was dreaming, because I was untying his boots, and I was like, what am I doing? Like, I'm not a little kid. What is going on? And then I was like, oh crap, it's Dad. Like, oh, you're here. Let me talk to you.
It's a good memory.
It is a good memory. Yeah. Those, like I will be quick on these three, but whenever I the boys were born, I have twin boys. I'm pretty sure Robert already told you that.
He listens to the show.
Yeah.
He does.
Oh yeah. Duh.
Yeah.
So they were born. They're in the NICU. I was in an emotional state because they're in the NICU. It's kind of a serious thing, but they're in good hands.
They were preemies.
They were premature. And the whole time that anger was coming back, where I was like, my mom should be here. She wanted to be a grandma so bad. And I was so angry. And I think I had a dream, like I think it was like a day before they came home, and we didn't know, but it was whenever it was at Melinda's Tacos where she worked. I think I told you the story.
Yeah.
Nobody was there, but there was like a person. I couldn't see their face, but they had the Melinda's Tacos hat, and she was like, Sandra, your son is here, and she's like, oh, and then she came out, and I saw her, and I was like, oh my god, and I knew I was dreaming. I knew it. Yeah. But whenever she came out, she was holding Ricardo and Sebastian
at the same time.
At the same time, one on each arm.
Yeah. And
they were like looking at her. They had their eyes open, and
yeah.
And they were looking at her like in awe and stuff. And she was just saying that she loved me. She loved the boys, and no matter where she is, whether, she was like, it doesn't matter if I'm here or I'm in heaven, I'm always going to be their grandmother.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, like that's what I needed to hear. I guess just to hear it from her. So I thought that was a really good dream. I remember just waking up crying and stuff. The other one was when Gibran passed away. And I'm not going to go over the nightmares because they don't. I try to forget about the nightmares. I try to save him. But this one was good because I was having a hard time with today's society of school shootings. And I guess it was I was worried about, the boys and stuff like that. And I remember I was in a dream and I was at the Walmart and somebody was shooting and everyone was screaming. I go, oh crap. And I started running and I turned like one of the aisles, and then it turned into like a part of the mall. I was like, what the heck? This is a mall. And everybody's fine. Like, I see people. I was like, okay, I guess I'm safe. Like, I'm good. And then I started hearing more shooting. And then people started running. I go, oh, crap. And I started running. I turned another, like, I guess a hallway, and it's a hospital. I go, what the heck? And it's fine. It's all good. And then I heard shooting again. And I was like, oh, God. I run, and I turn into, like, a waiting area, and it's Jabron. He's, like, standing there. And he's, like, looking at me, smiling. He's like, come here and stop dreaming about this. This is never going to happen. And like, he kind of like shoved me into another doorway, and then I woke up. I was just like, what the, I had a dream about Jabron. But it was like,
he was just telling you to quit worrying about
like
that
he was
stuff.
watching over me. He's like, I guess he was like, either watching me sleep or something. And then, just making sure I'm okay. And then he saw that I was dreaming about it. I was like, stop dreaming about it. That's never going to happen. Stop. And, he woke me up. And then the last one was Grandpa. This one I really needed, because I don't think I ever had a dream about Grandpa. It was whenever you were in the hospital.
Oh yeah. You told me this dream.
And I was in the Dwight house in the living room. And I remember looking at the TV. It was on the floor, but it had it was one of those old TVs where it was like, it's kind of lifted. Mm-hmm. It's got the speakers attached to it. And I was laying down. I had my Lion King blanket. I don't know how I remembered the Lion King blanket, but I knew that was my blanket. And I remember I was laying on his stomach. My head was on his stomach, and I could feel his stomach like go up and down. And I was like, Grandpa? And he kept holding my head like, don't look at me. But he was just letting me know, I was like, hey, everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be all right. You don't need to worry about anything.
I wish you'd have told me this dream back then.
I didn't want to scare you at the same time. Like, I was really stressed to F out, man. Like, I was so stressed. Didn't want to eat. I was just so stressed. But I remember having that dream, and I was like, oh, man, thank you. Like, I think dreams like this, like, you don't realize how it corrects you mentally. Yeah. Just like that. Whether you're sleeping good or not, but it's the message that's most important that you were longing for.
Of course.
And I feel like those dreams are really the best visitation dreams I've had.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
All right. John, you got anything to add to that, or?
It actually does, I think, segue into the last type of dream that I wanted to talk about. Because it's like you're getting this message, right? Is what the whole point of it, right? He's like, it's okay, stop stressing, stop worrying, relax, right? So the last kind of dream that I was going to talk about were prophetic dreams, right? The truth. So the truth is you needed to stop stressing, kind of thing.
Yeah,
right. So with prophetic dreams, for us, from a Catholic Christian theology, we have to understand that truth comes from God alone, right? Like He is truth. And we shouldn't try to actively gain understanding from dreams like in a forceful way. Like, don't force the issue, kind of thing. Instead, the truth of the dream, it might be revealed to you by God if that's His will for you to understand. So like kind of a good metaphorical way of thinking of it is like, if you're trying to exercise to kind of maintain your health, right? Like the goal is to stay healthy. The consequence of the exercise might be that you live longer, but you don't exercise to live longer because you can't control it. Right. And I guess you can kill yourself exercising even. Right. So it's like, if long life comes from the exercise, that's good, but you can't force it. The same thing with prophetic dreams. Like, you don't force it. Right? If there's something that you don't understand, let it be, pray about it, contemplate it, right? Chew on it, and maybe understanding will come to you. Talk about it, right? Maybe when you're sharing your stories, it'll kind of come to you. But like prophetic dreams, they're not necessarily clear. Like I said, we can't force it. The truth will come to you, but something, or it may come to you, I guess, but something that's also, like, I want to very clearly state is that the church, it teaches there's no more like revelation to be had, which is necessary for our salvation, right? So if you have a dream where God or someone is trying to tell you something, it's not necessary for salvation, right? Humanity, we've got the fullness of all of that through Jesus. So anything that's like a private revelation to you in a dream is simply because God wants you to have this for your well-being, right? Mm-hmm. And these things, like the Bible is full of dreams, like Old Testament. Y'all know the story of Joseph and the coat of many colors or something like that?
Tell us about it.
It's like, it's his brothers are jerks. He's dad's favorite, so they decide they're going to kill him, but then one of the brothers is like, no, let's just sell him into slavery instead. So they sell him to some guys who go pass him off in Egypt, and he ends up living in Egypt. But he's blessed with the ability to rightly interpret dreams. And so, like, whenever there's problems and Pharaoh is having problems, like, Joseph is the man he goes to. And Joseph even says in the dreams, he's like, does not interpretation belong to God? Like, you can tell me your dreams, but God's the one who's going to interpret them, right? So there's lots of, like, prophets in the Old Testament that are like that, where it's the dream, something happens in the dream, and the dream is kind of weird, right? And the understanding, though, comes from God. It's not that person is skilled at understanding. It's that person God allows to understand and share the message. Same kind of thing. Joseph, like Mary's husband, Jesus' stepdad. Like when Jesus is born and the three wise men come. Actually, I don't think it's just three. But anyway, the wise men come. They're warned in a dream not to go back to Herod, but to go home in a different way. And so when they go home a different way, they don't go back to Herod. It makes King Herod mad, and so Herod's going to go kill all the babies in the land. And so an angel appears to Joseph in a dream and says, "Hey, take Jesus and his mother and go to Egypt and stay there until you're told otherwise, because Herod's going to he's trying to kill the child." So Jesus packs up his family and goes, right? And they stay there, and then eventually he gets another dream where, again, the angel of the Lord appears to him in the dream and says, hey, you can take the child and the mother home back to the land of Israel, because everyone who is seeking his life, they're dead now. And so it's safe to go back, kind of thing. So even in the New Testament, there are dreams where, again, God is telling you something. And in this case with Jesus and Mary and Joseph, it's very clear, hey, get up and leave, or hey, come back. But most of the time the dreams are not clear. So with that being said, it's fun to interpret them, but like, don't put too much into it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, because it's, you might get the wrong thing and you just don't know it and cause problems for yourself, kind of thing. But I do want to say, so my co-host on my podcast, Father Stephen, he's a Carmelite priest, and so I did want to share, because I think you guys are going to think this is pretty awesome. There was a Carmelite nun back in the 1500s in Spain, and her name's Saint Teresa of Avila, and she's like super, super important to the Carmelite order and what it is now and stuff like that, and she's really important to the church. And what's great about her, she wrote a whole bunch. And so we have all of her writings. And she would have these visions and these dreams that were just wild. And she wrote all this stuff down. And there's actually a really famous painting, it's a statue called The Ecstasy of St. Teresa. I think the guy's name is like Guillain-Barré or something like that. But anyway, so it's a statue of one of her kind of dreams or visions. And so I've got this little excerpt, so I'm going to read it to y'all, because it's just wicked sounding. So she's having this dream of this angel, okay? And so she writes, I saw in his hand a long spear of gold, and at the iron's point there seemed to be a little fire. And he appeared to me to be thrusting it at times into my heart, to pierce my very entrails. And when he drew it out, he seemed to also draw them out, and to leave me all on fire with a great love of God. The pain was so great that it made me moan, and yet so surpassing was the sweetness of this excessive pain that I could not wish to be rid of it. The soul is satisfied now with nothing less than God. The pain is not bodily but spiritual, though the body has its share in it. And it's a caressing of love so sweet, which now takes place between the soul and God, that I pray to God of his goodness to make him experience it, who may think that I'm lying. So, I guess a lot of people thought she was a little kooky when she was describing stuff.
It sounds
especially,
like,
I think, her spiritual directors.
To me, it sounds like she was being cleansed.
Yeah, like crazy dreams. So that you look up the statue. It's pretty crazy.
What's the name of the statue?
It's called The Ecstasy of Saint Teresa. It's beautiful, but it's like this angel's holding this. It looks like an arrow spear or something that's on fire, and she's like falling back, kind of thing. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah. There's this other writing that she has. This one I think is pretty ballsy. I guess there's no better way to say it. So she wrote. She's writing about God in this one. And she says, if this Lord is powerful, as I see that he is, and I know that he is, and if the devils are his slaves, and there is no doubt about this, because it's a matter of faith, what evil can they do to me, since I am a servant of this Lord and King? Why shouldn't I have the fortitude to engage in combat with all of hell? I took a cross in my hand, and it seemed to me truly that God gave me courage, because in a short while I saw that I was another person, and that I wouldn't fear bodily combat with them. For I thought that with that cross, I would easily conquer all of them. So I said, come now, all of you, for being a servant of the Lord, I want to see what you can do to me. It's just like, oh.
Yeah, so that does sound ballsy.
Picking a fight with all of hell, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Sounds like Zach Bagans from
Ghost Adventures. Yeah.
Did you scratch me?
That's a great story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I like to imagine she's coming at him with her chunkla. You know what I mean?
Yeah. John, we're coming up on, actually, we've been going like an hour and 30 minutes now.
Woo! Dang.
So,
Dang.
how does our listeners get to your podcast?
Well, they can find us on anything, any of the major podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcast. I guess Google Podcast is gone, but we post on all the major podcast things. Our podcast is called My Friend the Friar, and they can, if they got questions, they got things they want us to talk about, they can shoot us an email at myfriendthefriar@gmail.com. But yeah, and basically Father Stephen, he's my smart guy. He's my expert. He teaches me a lot, and then we talk to other people. We have guests, and again, because it's good for people to talk about stuff and be okay to have questions and just contemplate stuff. So
yeah,
it's kind of what we do.
I like it. So I think I can do something with this show.
Oh yeah, you got a good chunk.
So I just wanted to say really quick, if you're new to the podcast, thank you for taking the time to listen to us. And if you're not new, you're just coming on for the very first time, thank you so much for choosing our podcast to entertain you at this time. But if you're one of those people who haven't hit subscribe, follow, that really, really helps us a lot. So you can follow us on all the platforms. We're on social media. We're on Xbox. Why did I say Xbox?
What the heck?
We're on
the PlayStation Store.
we're on X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. And if you want to email us about comments, or if you had a story, or if you just want to critique the show, send us an email at bigfootclub1@gmail.com. So let's go ahead and just say goodbye and good night.
Good night.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Not a problem.
John, I'm sorry. We should have said that. Thanks for coming on, John.
Bye. That's a